episode I watch every single Halloween. And that story is about a young girl called Carly Beth who gets tricks and pranks put on her by two boys at her school called Chuck and Steve. And for this upcoming Halloween, she wants to be really scary. And she wants to teach them a lesson, so she finds a shop that she's never seen before. And inside, she finds the haunted mask. So she decides to dress up using the mask in replacement of the really cute dog costume her mother makes her. However, when she puts the mask on, she soon finds out that not is all what it seems. And I know it's something childish, but it's from my childhood, and I used to get really scared by the Goosebumps books and the TV show. And it just brings me back to my childhood. So if you've never seen it, and you're sort of new to horror, it's good to check out. I like it. However, these days I can stomach a little bit more than Goosebumps. Sometimes I've watched really crazy stuff. And a couple that come to mind is the Saw movies, which were written by two Australians called Lee Winnell and I think his name's James Wan. And they worked on the first couple of Saw movies, and they're really, really good. I definitely recommend starting from the beginning one. A lot of people have seen Saw, but I do recommend the series. And it starts off with one of the directors is actually in the first movie as one of the main characters, and it's just based off the works of a man who was sick with cancer. And so what he did is he drove his car off a cliff and survived the accident. And what he had to do was he had to take out I think it's a piece of steel from his abdomen, and he had to pull it out, and to his amazement he survived. So from that he started to test the human body by placing people that were unworthy of life, or not appreciative of life, by putting them into games where it would test their will to live. And there's some really, really gory traps, there's some really silly ones, and there's some really, really cool ones that are really, really interesting to watch. So I definitely recommend Saw. Another scary movie I suggest as well is Drag Me to Hell, and that is it's kind of it's a horror and it's a suspense as well. And that's pretty much about a young lady who works at a bank, and her name is Christine Brown. And one day, the initial backstory is Christine is trying to get a promotion at her branch, and she's doing everything she can to get this assistant manager promotion. And one day, an old gypsy lady comes in to see Christine about getting an extension on her home loan because she is about to be foreclosed on. And it is by her manager's choice that Christine can either extend this gypsy or this lady, sorry, no disrespect to anybody out there, but whether or not she can provide this lady an extension, or whether she doesn't. And Christine chooses not to extend the loan, and obviously this lady gets really upset when she begs Christine, and then Christine calls security on her because this lady is begging for her home. She's begging, for the home that she's lived in for years and years, and then she is shamed by Christine for making a scene and making her look bad. So the gypsy then decides to curse Christine, and following that is a 7-day torment by a demon called the Lamia, who starts off at first appearing as just a spirit that likes to sort of cause a scene, but then more severe things happen. She starts seeing the gypsy and stuff like that, so and then all these other things happen. But I definitely suggest that movie. It just goes to show you, it teaches you a lesson as well, to give people a chance regardless of their walks of life, because Christine does judge this lady when she comes in, which is part of teaching Christine a lesson that maybe she should have just given her the extension anyway, or maybe treated her with a little bit more kindness. So I definitely recommend that movie. It's cool. The ending is not what you'd expect without giving away too much, but I do recommend that movie. And if you are looking for something more disturbing and out there and crazy, I know this is gonna sound weird and it's got a really, really bad reputation, but the Human Centipede trilogy might be what you're looking for. The third movie in the trilogy is by far the more ridiculous one. I don't really like the third one. I think the third one is just bizarre. And the prison warden in that movie is incredibly annoying. In a realistic situation, he would not be a warden. Like, nobody would be like that. So anyway, the third one's not so great, but the one I do recommend is the second one, which is the full sequence one, and that is, in short, it is about a parking attendant called Martin Lomax, and he lives with his mother, who pretty much wants to kill herself and kill her son as well, because of the fact that Martin's father used to abuse him, and the mother now blames Martin for what his father did to him, which is completely backwards. But Martin's way of coping is to watch a grotesque film, which is the first movie that is made to look like a film that Martin is obsessed with, and he has this scrapbook dedicated to the Human Centipede movie, which is just pretty much the first movie, but they've made it look like it's just like a movie setup instead of like a realistic situation. And then Martin then gets this idea to create his own centipede. So bit by bit he starts to gather his victims. They are mostly people that he meets in the car park, that are either just bystanders, some of them make fun of him, and then he starts to gather these people, and one of the victims is the girl from the movie that he is obsessed with. He manages to get her into town and manages to kidnap her and have her as part of the centipede. But the way the second one is done is just, it's in black and white, so you don't see as much, but you still get the gist of, there's lots of gore and stuff, and just the way Martin creates his centipede is just like, it's really disgusting. And when I watched it the first time, it really, really shocked me, and it was just one of those horror movies that stayed with me for like ages, and I was really scared to rewatch it. But once I rewatched it, it wasn't as bad, but it's not one of those movies you can watch every day. I don't watch it every Halloween when it comes around, so, Another the movie, and pretty much he is a real estate agent and he finds an old clown costume and he uses it for his child's birthday party because the clown that they've booked cancels, so he's got to think quick and he finds this costume and he falls asleep in it, and then when he wakes up the next day he discovers he cannot take off the costume nor the makeup that he's wearing or the wig, and what follows that is pretty much the costume that he's wearing is consuming his body and changing his voice, his appearance, everything, and it's just really, really freaky. Like I will put a disclaimer out there, it does depict a scene of suicide which is not for everybody, so if that's something that offends you then I don't recommend this movie, but it's different, it's out there, it's cool, I like it. Another movie I recommend is Carrie, and that is an old, I think it was made in the 70s. There is a remake, but the remake was terrible. The remake has Chloe Grace Moretz in it, and she's an okay actress, but just this specific movie was shockingly bad. So I definitely recommend that you watch the original movie, and it's pretty much about a girl named Carrie White who lives with her overly religious mother who doesn't teach her about the world. So for instance, Carrie goes to school and after her PE class she starts to menstruate and she doesn't know what it means, and all the other girls make fun of her while she's in the bathroom freaking out. Like, that's a classic scene. It's one of the first things that you see when you watch this movie, and that just goes to show the type of girl that Carrie is. She's very she doesn't know a lot about the world around her, but Carrie soon discovers that she has superpowers. She has telekinetic powers, which she puts to use later on in the film. This film is just, you gotta feel for Carrie, and you'll see why, but also on the same hand, she's really terrifying, and it's a classic horror movie. It's really, really good. So that's another one, and that's pretty much it for now. That's just a couple of suggestions. There are a lot more horrors out there. I'll put like a short list. 1408 is a really, really good movie. That stars John Cusack. That's a really, really good one, and I also recommend, what else do I recommend? I recommend The Terrifier. That's a good one as well. And I also recommend American Horror Story if you're looking for a TV series. But anyway, that's all I can think about off the top